Hi, welcome back to Christine's Home Affairs. Today is another very quick little project. It's going to be a little drawstring dumpling kind of pouch. This is it here. It's got a couple of little flaps on the front that look like tiny little bows. A drawstring, you can put a ribbon in there, and you can hold lots of little trinkets or gifts. I've made it so that it's beginner friendly. If you've never sewn before, you'll be able to do this without any problems at all. Before we get to the tutorial, I've received a postcard, and here it is. Let me put my glasses on. This is in Willesden. I'm thinking in the UK somewhere. Hi Christine, a card for your wall. You can't actually see much of my cottage as it's at the far end. However, it does give you an idea. Kind regards, Fred. So Fred, thank you very much. I will put that postcard up on my wall and show it off with pride. Thanks very much for that. Now, let's get on to this project. Come along. We only need 2 pieces of fabric for this and 1 length of cord. The fabric I'm using is just a really lightweight cotton. It's soft and flowy. If you have rayon scraps left over from a dress or a blouse that you've made, that'd be perfect. We just want this to be a really nice soft type of a bag. Quilting cotton will work perfectly fine. I have 1 piece each that is 45 by 17 centimetres or 18 by 7 inches. And then I'll need some cord as well. I'll put the length down for that when I know what it is. And that's all we need. Now, because this fabric is so soft, I'm going to mark my curves on the piece of fabric that is the most stable. You can use any size curve you like. It really does not matter. All we want is to mark a curve around this corner here and the opposite corner. Hopefully you can see that around there. What I'm going to do now is place the 2 pieces of fabric right side together, and because it's so flimsy, I'm going to make sure I pin them really well. Place right side together, so that's a printed facing, and the curves are in opposite corners. And I'm using pins for this one rather than clips, because the clips get really heavy and it's easier to work with this fabric when you've just got lightweight pins in there. So I'll pin my corners first, that way I can line up the rest of the fabric. Okay, this is so simple. What we can do now is, starting here, so just on one side of the centre, I'm going to start with a back stitch, sew around all 4 sides and come back to the other side of the centre and leave an opening about 3 fingers width. You don't need a specific seam allowance, it's up to you. I'm going to use the edge of my presser foot as a guide, so I'm going to run that along the side edge of the fabric. Keep on going. Where this curve is, I'm going to treat that as the raw edge, so the presser foot is going to follow that curve, and then I'll keep on going, go straight, turn at the corners, and keep running my presser foot along the edge of the fabric and also along the edge of this curve around here. And then we just need to make sure we remember our back stitch at the beginning and the end. Because this is going to have a draw cord at the top, it's going to be quite a forgiving project, so if you don't sew perfectly straight, it really doesn't matter. Go slowly around the curve, don't pull on your fabric. Just guide the fabric around. All right, we can clip our corners. I'm going to be using my pinking blade just to trim the corners and also trim around the curve. I'm just cutting really close to the stitching line, but not through it. If you've got pinking shears, you can use those. You can clip into the curves or just cut really close to the edge. Turn the fabric the right way. And smooth out your edges, poke out your corners. I'm going to press this so that the edges sit nice and flat. I'll be right back. All right, that's been pressed nice and flat. Turn the fabric so that you've got the right side to the back. So this is going to be the outside of my bag and this will be the lining. And you want to fold the edges in evenly. So from the outside edge to this outside edge, and you want to measure along the straight, not on the curve. Divide that into 3. I have 44 centimetres or just under 17.5 inches. So I'll divide that by 3, gives me just under 15 centimetres in each third, and it'll be 5 3/4 of an inch. And then just double check the centre to make sure it's the same. From the outside edge to the first third is 5 3/4 of an inch. From here to here it's the same, and then you'll go and measure the centre and you should have 5 3/4 inches. If it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. And that is 14.5 centimetres. Take this side and fold it up to the line you've marked on this side. I've also got the opening in the fabric just here. We'll be closing that up in a moment. So we'll fold that over, pin that in place. You'll take this to the machine and sew straight across, just from here to here. That will close up the opening that we've got along the bottom. Once you've done that, I'll just mark that corner with a pin. You'll open this one out and then take this side and bring this corner up to where the pin is. And you'll stitch that in place as well. So what you'll have here is the curved flap just sitting loosely. So from here to here, sew across, and on this side as well. I've left this whole section open. I'm going to sew this side first, then I'll be able to fold the other side more comfortably. All right, with that side done, I can turn around and bring the other straight edge up underneath that fold, move the fabric out of the way, and move the remainder of that fabric out of the way as well. Okay, so far we have this curved edge stitched along the side here and this curved edge stitched along the other side. Fold the curved edges over and just bring those diagonal folds together so that they sit nice and comfortably. You don't want one sitting over the top like this. From this folded edge, we're going to mark a line across the diagonal, and it needs to be wide enough to fit your cord through, or your ribbon if you're using some. I may actually use ribbon instead. I think it'll be more dainty. So I'm going to measure 1.5 centimetres or 5/8 of an inch from the fold. I'll mark a straight line. I'll pop a couple of pins in there just to hold it in place. So I don't want to pin through the other layers. I just want to pin on that fold. Turn this around and we'll do the same on the other side. So I find it easier just to put something underneath, and we'll make the same mark on this side. So that was 1.5 centimetres or 5/8 of an inch. And we'll pin that together as well. With those folded edges pinned together, open it out and separate it. Bring the fabric around so that you've got this diagonal stitched line coming up here, and if you flip it over, you've got the other one on the other side. And what we're going to do, we'll be sewing from here all the way around, keep on going until you get back to the beginning. And this is going to leave you a nice little channel to put your cord or your ribbon in. Let's do that. I'm going to turn this inside out because it's easier for me to see what I'm sewing. And we'll just start with a back stitch on the edge of the fabric there. And follow that line that you've marked. You can backstitch here, or you can continue on and stitch straight over the fabric. I'll backstitch and start again. I've decided to use ribbon instead of cord, so I've cut 2 lengths that are 20 inches or 50 centimetres each. And I'm going to use a bodkin. If you don't have one of those, use a safety pin. And I'll feed that ribbon through. So we'll come in on one side and keep on going until you come back to the side that you started at. And you can tie off that ribbon. Grab the other piece, and where we fed this through on one side, we're going to go to the opposite side and start feeding this one through. We'll go all the way around and come back to where we started. Some of you may have noticed that I've been doing lots of little projects lately, and very quick ones too. And that's because Chris and I are going away next week, and we'll be away for about 10 days. I'm trying to put some videos in the bank so that they can go up while I'm away. So we finished that one. You can tie that off as well. Of course, we're hoping to get some filming done on our trip as well. With any luck, you'll get to see beautiful Tasmania, or some of it anyway. Okay, our cord is in on both sides. This is now perfect to put some nice little trinkets, some jewellery, just some nice blingy things. Pull the cord or your ribbon. Then you have a nice little drawstring pouch that you can put your precious jewellery into, or just some nice little gifts for somebody at Christmas. Pull that closed. You can tie that off if you like. And that will make an adorable little gift for somebody at Christmas or any other time of the year. And if they're lucky, they might get something with a little bit of bling. Wasn't that a fun little project? So simple to make, just a couple of bits of fabric and a piece of ribbon or cord, and you've got a handy little gift bag made up. This would be perfect to give a gift of jewellery. Remember those bags of marbles we used to have as kids? It'd be perfect for a bag of marbles. As I mentioned earlier, I'm making lots of quick projects. Chris and I, what's today? Saturday. On Tuesday, Chris and I are going to Tasmania for 10 days. So we're off to do a little bit of travelling, sightseeing, and playing lots of table tennis matches over the course of several days. So we'll have lots of fun. I've got a few videos in the bank to put up whilst I'm away, but we will also be doing some footage of our travels as well. So for those that don't know Australia, we'll take you around as we go around places as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall catch you next time. Bye for now.